Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Before we get into the show, I just wanted to mention that I'm going to reach deep back into the archives. I had some issues this week trying to get the shows out. I know you've listened for years, and you said, Tim, we all know you have issues. Well, this time it was actually recording issues, not my own issues. But before we get into the show, I wanted to mention that it's that time of year again where we got the Joffrey's Flavor Originator Sweepstakes. This is fantastic. The Joffrey's Flavor Originator Sweepstakes, you can help them create their new 2019 flavored coffee and enter to win free Joffrey's coffee. This is fantastic. Joffrey's is on a delicious mission to engage coffee lovers around the country to help build their next flavored coffee. Through August 29th, Joffrey's is on a mission to engage coffee lovers around the country to help them build their next flavored coffee. There is a sweet reward for anybody out there if you enter this contest. It's 5 winners will be randomly selected to win a free bag of Joffrey's coffee every month for a year. This is fantastic. Now, over the next 4 weeks, you'll have a chance to vote on the most popular flavor combinations. You'll help select the name of the coffee, design the label for the coffee, while playing a delicious role in choosing the next Joffrey's flavored coffee. Winners will be announced the week of August 29th. The official rules, I will link it up probably on our social media, but you can find those over the Joffrey's social media over on Facebook.com. It would be fantastic if someone in Looper Nation would win this. And how can you go wrong with a free bag of Joffrey's coffee every day for a year? And what are you going to do with all that coffee? Send me one every month or so. That'd be fantastic. Once again, I'd like to thank Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company for being a sponsor of ResortLoop.com. Let's start the show.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 15 of ResortLoop.com. I'm your host, Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
And this is a very special show.
Yes, it is. We have to be on our best behavior tonight.
I am well behaved, because joining us on both ends of the podcast are our better halves.
Yeah, definitely our better halves.
The ladies behind.
No doubt about that.
Absolutely. The ladies behind ResortLoop.com.
Yes.
The unsung
your lovely
heroes.
Wife and my lovely wife.
Yes. The more attractive halves.
not in that necessarily order. I don't know what that means. So, do you want to tell everybody why our lovely wives are with us tonight?
Well, tonight is the show we've been promising for a few episodes now. We are going to go over the Scott family Alaskan cruise from 2011.
Yes. And full disclosure, this is extremely self-serving because will be our first cruise.
Yes.
In February, so...
Not to Alaska, but
we're going to pick your brains on a Disney cruise.
Excellent.
So, everybody else can just turn off now because it's just going to be us talking.
It's just for us. Let's introduce our wives to get things started. Why don't you go ahead first?
My lovely wife, Patty, is with us. She was on one of our previous episodes. We talked about the kids, what ages the kids will best age to take a kid to Walt Disney World. So
that was an excellent episode. One of my favorites, actually.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Dawn.
I listened to that episode today, as a matter of fact, and I thought you were right on that any age is a good age to take your kids to Disney World.
Yeah, absolutely. I you know what? You wouldn't have been able to tell me that 15 years ago. I would have said, "Oh, no way." But I am a believer for sure that it's good for any age.
Definitely. We took Steven for the first time when he was 14 months old, and several times after that. Mackenzie, I think, was 7 months old the first time she went, and don't regret any of it.
Nope, not at all. And at this end, my lovely wife, Dawn.
Hello.
An educator and we turned her on to Disney. She wasn't initially a Disney fan, but we converted her.
Definitely.
Hi,
Especially
Dawn.
the cruising part. Hello, Bob. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Glad to be
Good.
here.
Thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
When exactly did you guys go on this cruise?
We went in August of 2011.
When Tim had told me you guys were going on an Alaskan cruise, I thought he was insane.
We did too.
Being from Northeast Ohio, and some of our listeners are from Northeast Ohio, they'll understand when I say, you're going to Alaska. You don't get enough cold here in Ohio.
Right.
But August in Alaska is not quite what you would think of Alaska being, right?
We had some pretty chilly days, but we had 2 really, really nice days as well. And I wouldn't have changed it. It's just, Alaska weather, you have to prepare for it, and it was great.
It was wonderful. It was better than we expected. We didn't know what to expect exactly going in, but it was fantastic.
Was that a 7-night cruise?
Yes.
Yes.
What was the kids' reaction when you said that you were going on a cruise and then you said Alaska? What was their initial reaction?
Well, we have to start back in January of 2011. We decided to do a long weekend at Disney World because a friend that I teach with was going, and I said, well, I think we might go just for a long weekend. And she said, well, I think we'll go too. And Tim and the kids had never met her or her husband. And at the time they had just a 3-year-old. And we met for dinner at Ohana's, and really we're having a very nice time talking about Disney and upcoming vacations. And they said in August they were going to go to Alaska. And wouldn't it be fun if, we joined them? We kind of laughed it off and thought, oh, yeah, we're going to go to Alaska this year. I don't think so. Well, when we went home and started looking at it and thinking about it, we thought, what better way to do Alaska than with people who have cruised Disney before? Because we never had at that point. We had done a couple other cruises, but not with Disney. And once we started looking into it, we were hooked and decided just to jump in with both feet and go.
Exactly. And the cruise, I don't remember how much it cost, but the cruise itself wasn't as outrageous as we thought it would be.
Right. Well, we didn't get a veranda, which was the first time we traveled without a veranda or cruised without a veranda.
Yes.
And I do remember seeing the cabin for the first time and becoming immediately claustrophobic because there was no outside.
No way to get outside.
There was just this large porthole. But after we had settled in and, had things put away, it wasn't that it was small. It was just that there was just no outside exit, and that just really bothered me. But
yeah, and you guys normally cruise with a veranda, right?
Yes, we always had before then. So
right.
This was new to us, but I know some people say you can't cruise Alaska without a veranda, and I'll say that's not true.
That was the best decision we made about the cruise, was not paying for the veranda room.
It was, because the days at sea when you would have used the veranda, it was very, very chilly. It really was. So.
That's understandable.
And it was windy, and with the ship moving, that even adds to the wind. Mm-hmm. So there was no way we would have been outside for any real length of time to enjoy paying for the veranda.
No, because our other cruises with the veranda, we were in the Caribbean or in the Bahamas, and it was warm, and we enjoyed the veranda a lot at night. There's no way we would have gotten our money's worth, for the most part, out of that.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the people we cruise with never get a veranda because they have their little girl. How old did you say she?
She was 3 at the time.
She was 3, and they don't want to even have to worry about her going out onto the veranda with the door opening or anything.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So they
I
always
can imagine a better way to see Alaska.
I think it was the best. It was the best way for sure. I definitely would like to go back to Alaska and do another cruise, but then I'd also like to do an add-on, whether it's with, Adventures by Disney or just on our own, but definitely do that and see Denali National Park and some of the other sites you can't see from a cruise ship.
Yes.
But it was amazing.
So you're saying Alaska's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, it was wonderful.
It was beautiful. I would actually do it again.
Oh, I would definitely do it again.
Wow.
Definitely.
Well, that's great. Now, I'm looking at the pictures that Disney has up on their site. They're showing a glacier. Did you guys go and actually see the glacier?
We did.
Yeah, we saw a couple different ones. We saw the one from the ship, and then we saw Mendenhall Glacier. And they're just they're breathtaking in the pictures, but you can't understand exactly how mammoth they are until you're actually there. Yes.
Wow. Exactly. Now, any sea life? Did you see any whales or dolphins or anything like that? Probably not dolphins because it's Alaska. But
no dolphins, but we actually did a whale sightseeing excursion.
Yes.
And we saw a lot of humpback whales. We actually got to see one that came out, they call it breaching, where it comes straight up out of the water and splashes down on its back. So we were fortunate enough to see one do that.
Right, like that insurance commercial. It was just like that. It was phenomenal.
It was.
MetLife.
Exactly. I probably took like 200 pictures of just the whales, and they all look the same now. But they were just so beautiful at the time. You just want to get every single one.
Right. That's very cool.
So again, when you mentioned when you mentioned Alaska to the kids, were they excited right out of the gate, or were they didn't know what to expect, and then once they were there, were they in awe? What was their reaction?
When we were at Ohana's and we started talking about Alaska, the kids were on board right away.
Yes.
They were, oh yeah, let's go. And part of it is because our kids have always been, since they were very little, wonderful traveling companions. They can roll with the punches. They don't get upset if they're outside of their normal routine. They go with the flow, and they're always looking for something new, definitely new adventures. Mackenzie especially is up for anything.
She's our little adventurer.
She is. Stephen was he's a little more reserved, and I think the older he gets, he's a little more reserved. He's more of our homebody, but he definitely went willingly and was, he had a great time.
That's great, because you know what? I think our kids are the same but opposite. Emily, who is the oldest, is more of the adventurer. I wouldn't have to sell her on this at all. Bobby might have to talk him into it a little bit.
I think it's a girl and boy.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah,
maybe,
really
yeah,
do, yeah.
maybe not the age; it's the gender. But.
So where did you actually? You didn't fly to Alaska to get on the cruise ship. Where did you take off from?
This was the most disturbing, expensive part of this trip. Was
the airfare,
because the ship left from Vancouver.
Okay,
so you have to pay for an international flight. Actually, to get to Vancouver to get on the ship. So that was very, very expensive.
Yeah, that was, comparatively wise, that was the more expensive part of our trip. And we did book, very, very early to get the flights that we got. And I think we got the best deal we were going to get to do that. But once we got there, the Vancouver airport is amazing. And we surprised the kids with a limo from the airport to the hotel that we stayed at. So that was the first really exciting part of our trip. The kids thought that was just really too cool. They had never been in a limo before. And
that's very cool.
The limo was actually less expensive than the Disney transfers.
Yes.
For the four of us.
Really?
It was. So, we were very excited about that. We decided to stay at the Pan Pacific, which is the hotel that is built right on top of the cruise port. So in the morning, all we had to do was to call the bellman to come pick up our luggage. They took it down to the cruise ship for us, and we did not see it again until our stateroom host delivered it to our cabin.
Oh, that's nice.
That was very, very nice.
It was a beautiful hotel.
Yes, and we actually had our first little bit of pixie dust at the hotel. We had, and here's another tip for you. We pre-booked our hotel stay before and after the cruise using one of the online travel agents, and we paid for it. Our friends did not, and they thought they had a better deal than us. Well, by the time they got home and looked at their credit card statement, they had a conversion rate fee plus the international rate change fee. Their room ended up actually being more than ours. So if you're going to do that and go out of Vancouver and staying the before and after, prepay your hotel stays, because it saved us quite a bit of money by doing that.
Yes, and make sure your credit card is actually international friendly.
Yes.
As far as any
tip.
Yes.
Oh.
We got nailed on something similar to that just going to Niagara Falls, where I used credit card for my stuff, and when I got the hotel bill, it was much more expensive because the same reason. The conversion rate was ridiculous. I didn't realize if you prepaid, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about that.
So what, then you would just check with your bank or just call whatever credit card you plan to use, call and see if it's international friendly? Or...
Yes, because he got special. They had a special charge put on everything that he bought in Vancouver, I believe.
Yes.
So there was an extra international charge on every single purchase. So he bought dinner. I think they bought something else to eat somewhere else, and each one it just kept piling up.
Yeah, that was a real shocker for them.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah, we were.
I bet. Well, that's a great tip. That's good to know.
And ours was just by luck. I said, let's just prepay it, be done with it. That way, that's one less thing that we have to think about. It's already paid for, done.
So absolutely.
So that was just a convenience for us, but it turned out to be a money saver. But when we went to check in, the Pan Pacific Hotel is an absolutely gorgeous hotel, and it sits right on the harbor, obviously, since the cruise ship, comes right there. But across the harbor, there are just these gorgeous snow-capped mountains, even in August. And I mentioned to the receptionist checking us in, how lucky she was to work in such a beautiful place with such a beautiful view. And I just love the mountains. And we had just booked a standard city view room, so we weren't even going to have a view of the mountains. And she excused herself, came back a few minutes later and said, "Oh, I was able to upgrade you so you would have a mountain view." So we were so excited. Well, it wasn't just an upgrade to a mountain view. She upgraded us to a 1-bedroom suite. And actually the bathroom in the hotel, I think, had more square footage than our cabin on the Wonder.
Yes, it was huge.
It was enormous. So that was, the kids didn't want to leave. The kids thought we should just stay right there in Vancouver, not go anywhere. Gorgeous view of the mountains and just a really, really nice room. So
See, that's what we've talked about that in past episodes. It always pays to be nice to people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You never know who's going to help you out.
Yeah, we were shocked.
That's awesome.
We thought we were just going to get this nice little 2-bed room with a nice view of the mountains, and then to have a huge room that we did, because it had a full bathroom, and then it had another half bath as well in the suite.
Yes.
A dining room area, 2 couches.
Large screen TV.
Yes.
In both both in the bedroom and in the what they've called the family room side.
Yeah. Yes.
It was out. It was great.
You would have had to book the Walter E. Disney suite on the ship to even come close to that.
I think
still
so.
would have been smaller.
Just to maintain the standard we became accustomed to at the Pan Pacific.
Well, you are the high roller of this podcast. So
Well, that's how we roll here at the Scott household.
a little shocked I didn't book that one, but that's okay. So on the cruise, so you left from Vancouver. How was the trip from Vancouver up to Alaska?
The whole cruise, as far as I can recall, was smooth as glass.
Yes.
There was no real movement at all.
We didn't feel anything, and we were a little concerned because our cabin, because we booked much later than what is considered normal or opening day prices. Our cabin, the only one we could get, was fairly forward, and I thought, oh, this motion sickness might not be good. But we never really felt any movement at all. I think the forward part of the ship is now our favorite part, and that's where we try to book from. Well, our other cruises, we definitely book the forward area just because we like it.
Yeah, and here's the Tim and Don Scott tip of the day as far as the cruise line. At least on the Magic and Wonder we've been on. The forward elevators are the best.
Never crowded.
Never crowded. There's never a
Really?
wait.
Why?
Yes.
Why is that?
Just most people use the midship.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or the aft, because the restaurants are in the aft of the ship. So
Right, that makes sense. That's where all the activity is. So everybody's
definitely. We were on deck 2 of the Wonder for our Alaska cruise, and it's great because there's no. You can go up a few flights of steps and be at the restaurants or be at the kids club area. You really didn't need the elevators, except if you were going up to the pool deck.
Yes.
And even
You know what that reminds me? I wanted to ask you on this Alaskan cruise. I would assume there wasn't much swimming going on.
Not for the average person, but there was some swimming going on.
There were some who were determined. We're on our cruise. We're on a Disney cruise ship.
Yeah.
It might be sleeting out, but we're getting in the pool.
Wow.
They did. Mackenzie.
So really, I mean, in all seriousness, that's probably something that you shouldn't plan on doing.
I
If
wouldn't.
you're going on a Alaskan cruise you're not going to swim on the boat. So that's one thing that, you can scratch off.
Yeah, unless we're going to use the spa, I don't think you would need to pack a suit.
No. Mackenzie did swim the first day in Vancouver. She really wanted to go down the Mickey slide. So it was in the mid-70s the first day and sunny. So she did swim a little bit, but Stephen did not.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
So what was the view like as you were going up the West Coast? Was it just a spectacular view, kind
Absolutely.
of plain until you got to Alaska?
It was the whole scenery all the time was absolutely beautiful. You were never very far from shore. You could usually, see the land for the most part, and see the mountains going up. So
And a lot of the cruise there was land on both sides of the ship.
yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Tracy Arm in Alaska. What was that all about?
Our Tracy Arm Day, honestly, I'm not a very big outdoorsy kind of person. I don't like to be outdoors for extended periods of time, especially if it's very cold or very hot. And on our Tracy Arm Day, most people who did not have verandas were up on deck 10 and to get the full 360 view. We chose to stay on deck 9 because there is a shield, plastic shield there. And it protected us a little bit from the wind. But the Tracy Arm Day was quite chilly. It was in the mid 50s. We were pretty well bundled up in jeans and hoodies, and the Disney people were wonderful. They brought around blankets to huddle up. They served hot chocolate. And I thought, oh, I'll be outside a little bit, here, there, not too much. And we found that to be the exact opposite.
We were out most of the day that day.
We were. We started at probably 10 o'clock in the morning up Tracy Arm, and we went in shortly after the ship turned itself around to go back out, only because we had Palo reservations and needed to get ready. But the scenery, you just can't even really describe the beauty of Alaska. There were icebergs all around us. From the 9th deck, we thought, boy, these are cute little icebergs. Then you see this just touristy type boat go up Tracy Arm. That's probably maybe a, 20 or 30 passenger boat.
Yes.
And it's just totally dwarfed by these icebergs. They were very, very tiny. We were like, oh my goodness, it really put it in perspective. But the icebergs were gorgeous. They have a blue tinge to them from the minerals in the water. It was just amazing. During the whole time that you're in Tracy Arm, there is a naturalist that's on board that you can hear through the Disney system. You can also hear him on your stateroom TV if you are inside or have a veranda. And he points out interesting things. If he looked for, we didn't see any mountain goats. He was hoping we didn't see any of those. But we did pass a gnarly looking tree that had a bald eagle's nest in it. And actually the eagle was in it when we passed by.
Nuts, yeah.
That was gorgeous.
Which,
That's
here's
cool.
another tip. You absolutely have to have binoculars to go to Alaska. Don't even go without them, because obviously the ship couldn't get that close to where the bald eagle was. So viewing it through binoculars really made it much more pleasant, because you could really see and watch him stretch his wings, and he was very neat to watch.
And if you're going to pay the money to go to Alaska, absolutely get the best camera you can afford with a nice zoom lens, because the pictures are just outstanding. You want to make sure you have good quality pictures when you bring them home.
I'll bet. Now, as far as like shore excursions, you did the whale watch. What other kind of shore excursions do they have on a cruise like that?
Well, our first day, our first port was Skagway in Alaska, and we chose to do a train excursion that took you up through the White Pass. Took us on the White Pass rail.
That was one of my favorites, actually, the White Pass rail.
It was. Here's another thing. This is what we prefer. I know some people say that they can do the excursions much cheaper than they can through Disney, but we have only ever done the Disney excursions for two reasons. The main one being, if your excursion, something should happen where you are late getting back to the ship will either wait for you, or if it's impossible for them to wait for you, they will pay your expenses while you're stuck in that port and to get you to the next port to get back on the ship.
That's a great tip.
I just like that security, knowing that. I know a lot of people do excursions on their own, but I'm not a risk taker.
Yeah, we just don't. That's one thing we don't want to have to worry about while we're out, off the ship, is trying to get back to the ship.
Definitely not. You can watch many, many YouTube videos of people running to catch their ship or waving as their ship is pulling away, not waiting for them.
And they're getting mocked by all the people on the ship.
Just didn't want that to be us.
I'm sure it's not too easy to throw that ship in reverse and
No.
back up to pick you up. No.
No. The second reason we choose to do the excursions offered by Disney is because of the organization that Disney has. They tell you where to meet on the ship. They give you a colored character sticker, and they lead you to the transportation vehicle that you're going to take. They make sure the guides are there. It's just extremely well organized, and we like that. I don't want to have to figure out where I'm supposed to meet the driver for whatever excursion I've booked on my own. I'm on vacation. I want someone else to take care of it.
That's right.
We just want to tell them where we want to go and just send us.
Definitely.
If you're spending that kind of money, you want to make sure that you're getting the best that you can get. So
when we were on the White Pass Railroad, we got off the ship, and even though you could literally see the train depot from where we were, it was a stone's throw, literally. They put us on buses to keep us all together, and then when we got there, we got off a bus, and each bus had been reserved one of the rail cars. So we were able to get right on where we were supposed to be, find seats. And there was a lot of people who were choosing to do the White Pass rail on their own, and they were left standing on the platform waiting for the next train because the train we were on, was already full by people who had pre-booked through the ships that were in port that day.
Yep.
And it was kind of funny. This was one of our funny moments on the trip. Mackenzie has her princess wave down pat. And so as the train is starting to pull away, she is just waving like a princess. And as we watched her, we started noticing people on the platform were waving back to her. Some were even taking pictures and video of this little girl waving. And I hope they got on the next train, but I was glad to be on the one we were on because it was chilly that day. We definitely were in coats, and we had not winter coats. We had like heavier spring coats, but we definitely had gloves on because it was chilly.
It was chilly, but in the train car it was okay.
Oh, definitely. They were heated. It was very, very pleasant. We had a lot of information that we didn't previously know, such as the gold rush actually did not take place in Alaska like most people think. It actually was in Canada, but they call it the Alaskan gold rush because that was the jumping off point. So there was just I had to keep poking Steven and tell him to take his earbuds out and learn something.
Yeah, he was.
To which he responded, "I'm on vacation. I'm not in school."
Nice.
Now, when you take the Disney excursions, do you get that little extra Disney flair, characters or any kind of little extras that let you know you're taking a Disney excursion as compared to a local company?
There are some excursions that are considered Disney exclusive that have the characters. We did not take any of those. They seem to be geared more toward younger children, and our children were 10 and 15 at the time of our cruise. I think one of them, it was a Disney gold panning one that had the Disney characters there. We could go and gold pan with the characters. We did not do that. We did do gold panning, but not with the Disney characters.
So let me ask you this: you guys have cruised on other cruise lines.
Yes.
Comparatively, as far as the shore excursions go, price wise, about the same. Disney a little bit more expensive or less?
For the Alaska cruise, we have only ever done the Caribbean, where we thought the excursions were quite reasonably priced. The Alaskan excursions are very, very expensive.
Yes.
We were shocked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Worth it, but we were shocked at the price.
And we don't regret it one bit.
No.
Not one bit.
No, not
Right.
at all. They were, I don't know if it's because it's Alaska, or I'm assuming it's because it's Alaska and it's more expensive in Alaska, that's why the excursions were more expensive.
Yeah.
All in all, I felt we got our money's worth for what we did.
Right. And like we said, when you book through Disney, the excursions are more anyway, but that was something we didn't want to worry about.
Not in Alaska.
Okay, here's my theory on why they're more expensive in Alaska.
Okay.
Because if you're in the Caribbean, you don't mind if you get left behind. In Alaska, they're like, listen, you want to come back to the ship, it's going to cost you more money. I'm just saying.
Did you pre-plan your excursions too? Did you do that before you ever set sail, or was that on the fly? How did you do that?
We pre-planned them. We Disney gives you a booking time when you can start booking those things, assuming your cruise is paid in full. We made sure our paid in full date was because it was before our paid in full day where you could actually start booking. So we had to make sure our cruise was paid in full before then. And we were able to start booking. And I think I got up at 3 a.m, I think, when we could start booking.
Yes. I was getting ready for work. And
I got up and I was booking our excursions because I didn't want them to fill up. I wanted to make sure we got what we got.
So then I guess it's a good idea then to pre-plan just so you don't get closed out. I mean, I guess that would happen often.
yes, if you know what you want to do, I'd go ahead and book it.
For sure, especially because there are some of the excursions are offered at various times throughout the day. And if you're a morning person and you want to get up and get going, you definitely need to make sure you get the time you want for your excursion.
Right. So there's really none. I mean, you really can't do it on the fly. If you're going to do this, it's not like you're going to get on the cruise. It's day one. Oh, what am I going to do today? Oh, there's an excursion to whatever. You're probably not going to make it on that trip, right?
I'm not sure. Maybe if you get up really early, there is a Port Adventures desk that is there that will help you book anything that you want and will help you decide what might interest your family. But again, if a lot of people are interested in it, it's a popular excursion, it could very well be sold out.
Yeah, you want to pre-plan if you pre-plan so you know exactly what you'd like to do.
You might get lucky if somebody cancels at the last minute.
Right.
Type of thing, yeah.
They do have on the TV in your stateroom, each port, they promo the different excursions that Disney offers. So if you're looking for something like that, and someone catches your eye and you think, oh, I didn't plan anything this day, I'll go down and check, absolutely they'll sell it to you if it's open. But we're a pre-planner kind of family, like to know what we're going to do and when.
Now, Dawn, you said that when you first walked into the stateroom, you got a little bit claustrophobic. Did that go away after a little bit?
Yeah, it was pretty much gone by that night. I think I was just a little stunned. Although Disney staterooms are a little bit larger than the industry standard, having only had a veranda before, and actually the room that we cruised in before was a junior suite, which is closer to a hotel room size.
Yes,
and we went to about half that. I thought, I'm not going to do this for a week. I'm going to be in trouble. But once we had the clothes put away and the suitcases under the beds and things organized, I felt much more comfortable.
Yeah, because once all your luggage is in there that you've hauled from everywhere is, laying on the beds and on the floor, and
there's no room to move.
Yes.
But once you get things put away, or we call it nesting. So that's a tribute to my Uncle Joel, who always liked to have his things put away whenever he traveled. He nested, or maybe
he was a big traveler.
He made my aunt nest. I was like, he didn't nest.
We're kind of like that. Patty likes to put everything in the drawer.
That's me.
Especially if you're going to stay for more than a couple of days. That's a good way to go. So you guys have been on the Disney Wonder and the Magic. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, so out of the two, you said the Disney Wonder was your favorite. Why is that?
I think just because it was our first Disney cruise.
I
don't think there's too much difference between the Magic and the Wonder.
No, I remember thinking that the Magic was a dump when we were on it.
No.
It
goes back to our first episode when we talked about the resorts and around the Magic Kingdom and or the ResortLoop resorts.
Right,
None of them are bad.
You go from an A plus to an A.
Right.
Yeah.
One has to be number one. One has to be number two. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because we're going on to Disney Magic with you guys in February, so
still have just come out of dry dock by then.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit of a redo here this fall.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it should be fresh.
Real fresh. So and when we were on her last summer, we didn't think that it was all that terrible. You could definitely tell there was carpet worn in spots, and the covers on the beds needed refreshed. But
they were doing some varnishing while we were on there too.
That was awful.
That was awful.
That's a whole other thing.
That wasn't the positive part of the.
No.
I'll bet that smelled great.
Oh,
yeah,
it was. But I'll tell you what, Disney customer service, it just cannot be beat.
Absolutely.
I really don't think that any other ship that we have been on, we have had better service.
No.
And attention to anything that you have a concern about. They're very concerned.
They address it up front and right away.
Yes. So anyways, let's go on. After we did the White Pass rail with the same excursion, we went to a little, do you call it a little town or a little tent city?
It was like
it was called Liarsville.
Liarsville, yeah, I don't know what you call it. It was very kind of touristy.
Oh, definitely touristy.
Kind of a kitschy show, but after I got past laughing at it, it was actually very fun.
It was, but it was still cold. So I was sitting out in the cold. I was starting to get a little, because you sit through the show, and then I was a little cold. But after that, they take you up and they teach you how to pan for gold, which really they just had troughs that had water in them. And they give you a little pan that already actually has a little flake of gold in it, and it's your job to find it.
Yes.
And Stephen, being a teenage boy, his lasted all of 10 seconds.
He has no patience at all.
None.
Yeah.
He flicked it like a plate full of old mashed potatoes into the garbage, into the water. He's like, nope, nothing here.
Okay, I'm done. He walked. I'm out. He walked away. Mackenzie had much more patience, and she was bound and determined to find her gold. And one of the characters from the show that came up to help with the panning, and actually I think he's in the Disney promo video for Alaska.
He was, yeah.
He came up to help Mackenzie, and he was just so fun with her, and she just had a blast. He got her actually an extra pan of gold, and was helping her pan again, and got her a little plastic bag to keep her little flakes of gold in, and she thought she was, all that.
She was all excited.
That was probably a very one of her most fun days.
Yes.
But yeah, he probably spent 10 or 15 minutes helping her find all this gold, and then he was scooping stuff up from the bottom of the trough to help her find more flakes. And she probably found 6 or 7 flakes of gold.
She had a nice little,
Yeah,
very
she
small
did.
Ziploc bag of it in there.
Yeah.
Were there a lot of kids on the ship?
You know what? There probably were.
I'm sure there was.
We saw a lot in the dining room, but not just, some people think Disney ships, the kids just run wild, but we did not find that to be the case at all.
Yeah, I think the kids are just so well entertained in their own areas that you really don't notice them.
No, not at all.
You know what I'm really curious about is the day at sea or days at sea. What, you see those, the schedule, what are they called?
The navigators.
Right, yeah, and it has all the activities. What, how do you feel your day on the ship when you're at sea?
We like to, on our days at sea, to sleep in a little bit and then get up and have breakfast. And we carry the navigator with us just because it's so easy to miss things or forget when things are. One of the tips that we do that we got from other people is to take a highlighter with us and highlight the things that interest you, so that when you look at your navigator, it quickly grabs your attention. Like, we wanted to go play trivia, or we wanted to go watch karaoke, or so you can. But there's stuff that you can't even do because there are things that just overlap all the time, or you don't have enough time to get from one area of the ship to another.
Well, let me ask you this. I remember from cruising 20 some years ago, looking at the the events that was happening on the ship, and a good portion of them were not free. I do remember there was a tease from around the world that you could go do, and there were several other things, but there was a charge. Is it still that way?
Any of the things that we did were free. There are things that are a charge. If you take like a mixology class or anything that usually involves some type of food or cooking, there's a minimal charge to that.
Yes.
But none of those things interested us on the cruises.
No. I think the only thing we might have done was bingo. We did once.
Oh, yeah, we did bingo once. That was a definite charge. That was a big charge.
We usually get a kick out of bingo, so at least once.
It is. It's fun. I'm on vacation one time.
You get to hang out in a couple different lounges for the bingo, see different parts of the ship.
And they do make it fun. It's very entertaining. It's not just pull the number and, mark your card. They
bring some personality to it.
They do. They definitely do. So it's fun.
So what about the kids? Did they do the same events you did? Did they go off on different things?
Sometimes they did things with us. We watched on the Alaska cruise, we took Mackenzie to a couple different movies. Disney's really great about having their first run movies playing on the ships. So we saw Cars 2 on the ship and Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
So we did that with her. Honestly, she just wanted to be in the kids club most of the time.
She loves hanging out with kids her own age, and they're always constantly setting up activities and games, and there was a cooking thing they did on the ship, wasn't there?
Yes. So it was make chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
Yeah, it's made chocolate chip cookies. She met some very, very nice girls in the kids club, and those girls wanted to be in the kids club a lot too. So she hung out with them most of the time and did a few things with us. The kids club is great about if your child wants to leave, they just call you. That's another great feature of the Disney ships is they have what's called wave phones, and there's 2 per stateroom. We gave one to our son who was in Vibe, so it was not a secured club area. And then we had the other one so that he could call us or text us even and tell us what he was doing, where he was going, because we did have some rules for him since it was not a secured area.
Yes.
For the Alaska cruise, Mackenzie was in a secured club because she was 10, and she would just ask one of the cast members to please call, and they would page our wave phone that she was ready to be picked up, and we'd go get her something to eat, or if she wanted to do something else, we would do that.
That sounds very cool. I know Tim has said many times, we've talked about the cruise and how you almost have to drag them out because they're having so much fun. They don't want anything to do with mom and dad.
We did.
Yeah.
Probably more so Stephen than Mackenzie. Stephen, one thing that is a definite tip for your kids who are in Edge or Vibe, the very first night they have kind of a meet and greet for the kids, and I think it's called Plan Your Cruise. And the cast members in each of the separate areas in Edge and Vibe ask the kids what they would like to do. They give them a list of suggested activities, and they work them into the cruise at some point in time. But it's really important that your child goes that first night, even if you're tired from traveling that day, because that's when our son met his good friends for the cruise.
Yes.
I think it would be much harder for a kid, to go the third or fourth day when a lot of friendships have already been developed. He hung out with the same group of friends, about 6 of them, and we had definite rules for him. He needed to check in with us if he was going from one area to another, just to make sure. And we did he said he was going to get ice cream. We sort of appeared around the corner to make sure that's really where he was.
Ice cream sounds good.
He's
why do I see a Speed 2 where him and his buddies take over the ship and you're on your way to Mexico?
Yeah, he's a good kid, but he is a teenage boy, and sometimes they tend to do stupid things when they get together because they all seem to share the same brain and no one has a full one with them at any one time. So you do have to check up on your kids, even though it's a Disney cruise and a Disney ship. And they do have cast members that, keep the kids entertained. But if the kids leave the secured area for Edge or Vibe, they can do whatever they want on the ship. They can, so you do have to make sure your kids are behaving. It's your responsibility as a parent. And for the most part, we didn't see any disrespectful kids for the most part on the ship.
No.
No one was misbehaving, or it was a very pleasant time.
By the way, it's not just teenage boys that just ship.
No.
You need to.
It's the male gene. We know it's the male gene. We can't help it.
It's our male son here that we have to watch out for. So
That's
any
right.
teenager that, you get together with a group of kids and, one of them has a dumb idea and the rest go, yeah, that sounds good.
What was, Dawn, you first, what was your absolute favorite thing that happened on the Alaskan cruise?
Oh, definitely whale watching in Juneau, by far. It was an amazing experience. That was actually our first disappointment. We wanted to do a Mendenhall Glacier and whale watching excursion. It was a combination excursion, and by the time we were allowed to book, it was full, so it was no longer available. So we had to book Mendenhall Glacier and the whale watching separately. And as it turned out, the whale watching excursion part, if we had stuck with our original plan, we would have been on a ship with probably 100 other people, or a boat with about 100 or 140. I think the capacity was 140, and crowding at the rails trying to see the whales because it's a much larger vessel. But this boat we were on only held about 30 or 40 passengers, and there was plenty of window space inside or deck space outside to view the whales. And the windows slid open. Like I said, our Juneau day was absolutely amazing. It was in the mid-70s.
Yes,
just
it was sunny, clear,
gorgeous.
Oh, wow. For
So-
Alaska, that's paradise. In
That's
Alaska.
what we heard. We heard the 3 weeks prior to when we got there, every whale excursion that they had taken rained.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it rained like the week after, I think we heard too.
Yeah.
Didn't we? Yeah.
So we were very, very fortunate to be on the sailing we were on.
That's great.
So
That's
definitely
great.
whale watching in Juneau.
All right, Tim, your turn. And this is one time where you don't have to agree with your wife as to what the best time was.
Well, I'll tell you, I loved all the excursions. I'm going to go out on a limb. You going to hang with me on this one? I enjoyed the servers on this cruise. They made the cruise.
Really?
They made it go from A to A+. They were fantastic.
Really?
Yes.
So the cast members on the ship?
Yep.
On the Wonder, yeah. With the Magic is a whole different ball game.
Joffrey and Rodrigo, if anybody is
Has had them.
they are fantastic.
They will know exactly what we're talking about. They and their position on the ship is they do earn their living from tips. They are not paid a salary. Their salary comes from your tips. And so, of course, they're going to be nice to you and get you whatever you need. But these two guys went just absolutely above and beyond.
Okay, you know what? I have one more question.
Sure.
I know we have to wrap it up, but we're planning this cruise for February, and one of my biggest concerns is, do you ever get bored? Did you ever find yourself thinking, is this going to end? When is this going to end? Because there's nothing left to do.
We're just I'm ready to get off the ship.
No. No.
I will say,
Oh,
cruising,
that's great. That's good to hear.
cruising has been our probably most relaxing vacations we've ever taken.
Because you can be as busy as you want or as relaxing as you want.
Yes.
You don't have to do anything. If you want to spend a day sitting by the pool, you can do that. If you want to spend the day with port adventures, or if it's a sea day going from activity to activity, you can do that.
Yeah.
It's totally up to you, whatever you want to do.
You're not getting up for rope drop because you have to feel like you got to get the most out of your tickets.
Yeah. It's our favorite type of vacation at the moment. I was never bored. I think we cry at the end that it's just not enough time. I know for 100% sure when we go in February, you will be saying with us, 3 nights is not enough. It's not enough.
Yep.
But that's all the time we have, and I'd rather spend 3 nights on a ship than 3 nights in Ohio in February.
That's
Right.
what we're hoping for. That's what we're really hoping for. Our big concern, is the fact that Patty has been on a cruise ship, but me and the kids haven't. We're concerned about a little seasickness, and how we're going to react physically to the ship.
That's another podcast as well, because
Yes.
I did have some serious seasickness.
When we talk about our New England cruise
Oh.
from 2012,
Yes.
we'll get
have
to
to
what
have that.
we had a little issue.
I had a big issue. It was not
Yeah.
a little issue.
Oh, there's a teaser. There's a teaser.
Oh,
Tune
goodness.
in for our next cruise ship podcast where Dawn spills all.
Almost. Oh, you didn't have to do it. Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
And it's bad when the poor stateroom host, and she has to work regardless of whether she feels ill or not. She was seasick the same time I was, so it was quite rough.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
But that was the first time, and how many cruises have we had by then? 4 cruises?
Was that our 5th cruise?
That was our 5th cruise. That was the first time I'd ever even felt the slightest bit seasick.
Yes.
I think it was.
Was it rocky? I mean, was it a choppy waters or
Yes.
something?
Yes. It
Yes.
was terrible.
Very. Oh no, we were sick on the Sovereign too.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the second time.
I forgot about that one. Thank goodness.
Yeah, we'll have to.
And the wonder and the magic.
No, the
wrap
Wonder.
this
And there was that
Not at
time
all.
when we were.
Yeah.
Starting to have second thoughts now. You're making
No. I honestly, I think the one reason why we avoided cruising, well, mostly because it didn't fit with my school schedule in February, but the Sovereign cruise kind of turned us off. But it was a much, much smaller ship than the Wonder or
Yes.
the Magic.
Yes.
So
That'll do it.
I think we'll be fine.
We'll make it. It'll be fine.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
The countdown has begun.
worth it. Yes, it
Definitely.
has. I have it actually in the countdown in my phone, so I'm all set to go. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find it real
Find it.
quickly here. The cruise is a mere 324 days away.
Well,
Wow.
all right.
We're ready.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
ready.
a lifetime now.
It does seem like a lifetime, but it'll go fast.
It will go fast, surprisingly.
Yes, it will. Hey, real quick, I got a sweepstakes for us.
Oh, hit us with the sweepstakes.
All right, this is a Disney movie reward sweepstakes. This is a big one. I like this.
Okay.
It's the enter for a chance to win a monstrous summer family vacation to Walt Disney World Resort from Disney Pixar's Monsters University in theaters June 21st. So it is a vacation for 6.
6.
It was 6. So you're going to have more kids.
We'll rent them.
With travel by Delta Vacations, round-trip airfare, accommodations at Disney's Art and Animation Resort, VIP tour guide for the day. I want that so bad. I want somebody to just walk me around.
That's it.
And a Disney gift card. They also have a first prize of a $1,000 Disney gift card. So more than one prize there.
Oh,
So,
hey. Awesome.
And that will be up on it's www.sweepstakesfanatics.com. It'll be up on our website and Facebook page.
We'll drop it in the show notes.
Drop it in the show notes, and that's a good one. It's now that's going to expire. That's running right now, and it expires June 2nd. So you got a little bit of time on that.
Oh, okay, great.
Check that out. Like I said, it's the Disney movie rewards. And I know a lot of people are into that. So. But that's all I got, and I would very much personally, I would like to thank the both of you for helping us out to get an idea of what this cruising is going to be like. So, thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely. A lot of good information.
Yes,
Yeah.
you guys were fantastic. Welcome aboard Resort Loop.
Yay!
We need to have them on more often. Bring a little class to the show.
Well, there's still
Yes.
lots more to discuss with the cruising, our experiences out of New York versus, the West Coast.
Oh, that was a whole different story, but
Yeah, we definitely need to tell you the story using Disney transportation getting to the ship in New York versus our own private after.
yes.
Oh my! I never in my life did I, honest to God, think I was going to die, and I really did.
So it was a true New York experience.
It was a true New York experience.
That's nice. You didn't try and drink one of them big sugary drinks, though, did you? Because that's outlawed in New York now.
Oh no!
That might have been Bloomberg following us in the other car. That would explain it.
Chasing me down with my Coke. Oh my goodness. Oh, honest to Pete, that was a scary experience.
That was
I've
scary.
never been so glad to be at my destination in all my whole life.
All right. Well, we got to hear about that. That'll be volume 2.
Volume
Sounds
2
good.
of Disney Cruise Line.
There you go.
Sounds good. We can talk about service between the different types of services that they have there and the different experiences we've had with dining room servers and stateroom hosts and Disney transportation.
I love it.
Fantastic.
Get the limo.
Yeah, get the limo, yes.
Go private.
Well,
my
ladies,
tip.
thank you both for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're
It
welcome.
was great to have you on.
Excellent. For our listeners out there, be sure to rate and review us over on iTunes. Look us up
Yeah.
on Twitter. I'm Resort Loop Tim.
I'm Resort Loop Bob.
And we'll catch you next time on Resort Loop. Thanks, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoopTravelGroup.com.